I'm sorry, excuse me. Waive all readings of ordinance and resolutions except by title. B, approval of warrants. C, approval of minutes of September 25th, 2012 regular meeting.
I move we accept the consent calendar as given.
Second the motion.
Motion been made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Public hearing. There is none tonight, so item 10, regular business. A is adopt resolution number 2012, next number, resolution authorizing the city manager and the director of public works to execute any agreement, all master agreements, program supplements agreements, fund exchange agreements, fund transfer agreements, and any amendments thereto with the California Department of Transportation for the construction of the Hoyer Road Safety Route to School Cycle 10 project for fiscal year 2012-2013.
Unity Mayor Pro Tem and council members, as you stated before you, the item tonight is consider adopting a resolution authorizing the city manager and the director of public works to execute agency state master agreements and program supplemental agreements with Caltrans for the Hoyer Road Safe Routes to School Cycle 10 project. The city of Newman was successful in receiving a Safe Routes to School project, a grant fund in the amount of $177,300 from the state legislated Safe Routes to School program Cycle 10. The project consists of new surface improvements connecting two existing sidewalk segments used as a route to and from school for students along the north side of Hoyer Road between Yolo Junior High School and Silva Avenue. Includes approximately 285 lineal feet of sidewalk, curb gutter, and extending the pavement to match. There is a local match required of 10%, which would be taken out of the city's local transportation fund. As part of the approval process, Caltrans requires for these types of projects that the city manager and or the director of public works have the authority to sign the documents and right-of-way certifications, assurances, master agreements, and other statements for funding. Authorizing the city manager and the director of public works to sign these documents will help to ensure the project meets the required timeline for funding. There is no fiscal impact to this approval. Therefore, staff is recommending City Council adopt a resolution authorizing the city manager and the director of public works to execute the agency state master agreement and program supplemental agreements with Caltrans for the construction of the Hoyer Road Safe Routes to School Cycle 10 project. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them for you.
Do we have a, or maybe I just missed it, do we have a map of how this is going to look yet?
We have conceptual drawings. It's basically going to be a linear project connecting the two sidewalks together. We don't have an overall site plan yet, but that's part of the approval of this project is the engineer will also design and then we'll have that installed. I can bring that to you back later on at another council meeting if you'd like to see that.
Yeah, Councilman, if you've ever been out to the site, the sidewalk goes and then it jogs out into the right-of-way and then comes back to the sidewalk. We're just going to connect the two sidewalks and build out the right-of-way. So it's a pretty straightforward job.
Okay.
Any other questions from Gardner? Okay, bring it back to the council for direction.
I'll make a motion. We adopt resolution number 2012, next number, authorizing the city manager and the director of public works to execute agency state master agreement and program supplement agreement with Caltrans for the construction of the Hoyer Road Safe Routes to School Cycle 10 project.
I'll second that.
Motion been made and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you. Next item would be 10B. Report on selection and appointment of candidate to fill the vacancy treasury position. Okay, and tonight we have two candidates, and they're here. And the best way to proceed, I guess, would be we have questions in front of us. And if we would like to select a question, I think it's that we be consistent, that we ask the same question each time. If you want to ask more than one, that'd be fine too. So anyway, there's 7 questions, and would anybody prefer which one would you like to choose, or?
How about if we just go 1, 2, 3, 4?
That's
Does that
okay.
make it easy?
I have no problem with that. Is that okay with everyone?
And then 5, 6, and 7 just come back down. Somebody's going to not get the answer
Sure,
to
sure.
ask 2 questions, and
Okay,
I'm sure
great.
we're all going to just get heartbroken over that. But
Okay. So you're number 2. I'll take 3, and then next 4, and then 5, 6, 7, open for anybody that wants to. We have the candidates are Ferris Larson and Ken Rose. And Ferris, would you like to go first, or would you like to go second, since you're a young lady? What are your choice? Pardon?
Where would you like me to go?
I guess it's best up there, so we can all hear what you have to say.
Sure. Mayor Pro Tem, if you'd like, we can have Ms. Ocasio or Brett escort Ken out
Okay,
into
yeah.
our break room,
Yeah, that'd be great.
and then so that way the questions will be fresh to him, just as they are to Ms. Larson.
Okay, thank you.
Kind of like the dating game.
You got access to the break room?
Bob,
Yes.
Roberta was saying that her preference would be if neither candidate would be in the room during the questioning. I don't know what the
They're not.
rest of the council, no, I mean, even after the first question.
Oh, I see what you say, after,
Consensus of the council, I think, was what.
fine with me. So,
It seems more fair
yeah,
if nobody,
okay. So
what did anybody else think?
what it means is you'll be here to hear your own, and then you go outside and let Ken come in.
Dating game.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ferris. Okay, and we can proceed. Don has the first question.
Good evening, Ferris.
Hi, Dawn.
Question is fairly simple. What is your reason and motivation for seeking appointment to the office of city treasurer?
Well, originally it was Dave. I had talked with Dave, and he said he was good to go. And then, of course, we know that he really wasn't. So I thought that it would be a nice thing. He gave me the shirt, matter of fact.
Okay.
Okay, and then, thank you, Ferris. And then,
What do you think the most pressing financial concern for the city is?
Well, it would be nice if we got our redevelopment funding back. That would be nice. That has been good for all the projects that I've been involved with for 17 years. But I don't know how we can do that funding. Who can we hit on the head to get that? So I think everybody's doing a pretty good job around here. We're doing better than most, aren't we?
Yes.
okay, thank you, Ferris. The question I have, please explain your understanding of the treasurer's role in the city government.
Well, from what Dave said, it was a sit-down job, and I thought that sounded good for a change. And you sign the checks, but you also look over where things are going and kind of get an overall view of what is happening with all the funding and the funds. So it gives you a more encompassing look.
Okay. Thank you, Ferris. Mr.
Lastly,
Kennedy.
do you have time to commit to the city treasurer's duties?
Now, that is a good question. I had actually contemplating getting a real job, and then I thought, I really can't do that. And then we have the Stable Hands, the group, the Stable Hands. I don't know if any of you know how much work it is to do the theater, but it is a lot of work, and it's mostly cleaning is really mostly what it is. Of course, I do the books as well. We do the tickets, the booking, all that stuff. But it's mostly cleaning. It's mostly, the toilets and the sidewalk and the floors and the chairs and the tables and setting up and tearing down and cooking and cleaning. And the Stable Hands are now helping me. They've been helping me for a month. And it was the first time in 5 years since Mary passed that I had all the tables and all the chairs and all the floors and the green room and the alley and the breezeway, everything done. And it's like, I do have time now. So I thought if I snatch something else that I did, I know what I will fill that time with. If this doesn't, I'll just put more time into the theater. But I would like to branch out a little and do something sitting down for the city.
Thank you.
Okay. There's 3 other questions. Does anyone want to ask Ferris?
Number 7, I think, is pretty important. Ferris, can you describe your financial background and experience?
Well, I have been running the theater for 17 years, and my mother and father had 2 businesses in town. We moved here in 1959, And so we have always done all our own book work, and Mom has always helped us, and that's, I've always had a overview of what is going on with the situation, so we've done really well, so you just have to pay attention.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else have? Okay, I guess that completes your test. And if you wouldn't mind, Ferris, go out and tell Mr. Rose to come in, and we'll proceed with Mr. Rose. What I'd like to do, Dawn, is that you ask that same question again.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Again, we have a series of questions that we'll be asking, and we're going to start with Don Hutchinson and then work towards Mr. Candia. And these will be the same questions that were asked of Ferris.
All right, very good.
Good evening, Ken.
Good evening.
Can you tell me what your reason and motivation for seeking appointment to the office of City Treasurer?
I believe in giving back to the community, being a part of the community. Quite a few years ago, I was actually a member of the Planning Commission here in Newman and helped work on the original general plan. And to being a part of the community, I felt a really unique attachment. I had even ran for city council previously until a position that I had with the company that I was working for at the time caused my hours to change, which resulted in me not being able to continue on the Planning Commission because of the commitment that was involved. I have since retired from AT&T, doing some work for a previous company for about 10 years. Currently, I guess you could say it's semi-retired, not by choice, but by chance. But currently, I'm out looking, but it's an opportunity now to get back to the community and to be a part of this community. That's why we live here, and to make myself available to the government and to help them and help the local citizens achieve what should be a strong community.
Okay, thank you.
Good evening. What do you think the most pressing financial concern is for the city?
The pressing financial should probably be safety and public services. That's what we ask the city to do, to take care of us, whether it be the police department or the public works. And that includes, public works includes, the parks and the streets to make sure that they're safe. And that being said, hopefully that the funds that have been, that the city has available to them is spent wisely, and to be monitored that directly to make sure that there's no irregularities. I don't believe there ever has been here recently. So I'm looking forward to, continuing in that tradition. But I do believe that it's being aware of the finances, the money that's coming in, and being able to spend it wisely and trust that the elected government body helps with the direction from the city staff.
Thank you.
Again, good evening. My question is, please explain your understanding of the treasurer's role in the city government.
It's more of an advisory position to work with the finance director and to go over the reports and to make sure that the money that is brought in, collected, is also being put in the proper accounts. The warrants that are being addressed, or maybe perhaps, it's just as a second set of eyes, not duplicated, or just being aware to help the finance director to maintain that level of stability and the security that has been entrusted to him, and to help guide him so that you, as a city council, can make the proper decisions.
Thank you, Ken.
And my question is, do you have time to commit to the city treasurer's duties?
Yes, I do. Like I indicated earlier, being semi-retired, I have that time available. If for some reason I, would not be able to do that, I would definitely make it available. It would become more of a priority for me. It was in my interest. I had previously, when the position became available, to apply for the position of city treasurer. But out of personal reasons, opted not to run against David because I believed he was doing an admirable job. And when I see someone who's doing something, who's doing the best job that they're doing, and I have no issues with them, the best I could do would be to support them in that. And so this was just an opportunity, and it's a timing thing, as with most anything, to make myself available.
Thank you.
Okay, Ken, we just have one more question for you. Can you describe your financial background and experience for us, please?
Having been in the corporate world for over 30 years, I've been a manager going on almost 15, or actually almost 20 years as a manager. Most recently, I was a department head of a telecommunications company managing the western region. That operations required me to manage a $3.2 million budget, as well as 35 technicians and 2 managers. In addition to running that budget and maintaining it, I was able to manage it to the point of, with a reduction of expenses by 10% over each of the previous 3 years. That included managing the inventory of all the truck stocks and the equipment. Of those technicians, 15 of them had vehicles, so we had to monitor the vehicle maintenance, the agreements that we've had with that, as well as various contracts with various contractors, and to make sure that maintained. So that required a very tight hand on the budget to make sure that we didn't get over. In addition to that, to help me maintain that, we had quarterly audits as well as monthly reports that had to be dispersed out to our executive leadership team, so they knew where my department was on a semi-daily basis.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Ken. Should Ken leave the room, or can we, what is the best way to proceed?
Probably want to talk to your city attorney.
Yeah. Don't you think
How are you going to earn your money?
That was your request.
Yes.
What was that?
It's a council consensus on that. I believe that was the agreement we had.
Okay, council consensus.
Yeah.
Okay.
That they both,
Yes.
While we discuss it.
while we discuss it, yeah,
Right.
agree.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you.
So Ken would have to leave.
Yeah.
Thank you again, Ken. Would like to go first?
Yes, I would like to nominate Ken.
Okay.
And reasoning?
Well, before I saw either one of them, I looked at this and I thought, that's the man for the job. And after listening to him, I'm more convinced that's the man for the job.
I believe as far as experience in, budgeting and different things like that, because of his experience with AT&T and different things, he's probably got the most experience and would probably, I'm not going to say do a better job, but be more knowledgeable about what he would be doing as far as, because he's right, it is kind of more advisory than anything else. He'd be reviewing what's already been done by Lou and his staff. So I would I'll go along with Roberta on that.
I'm going to concur with that. Watching over Lou and his staff would be like a cakewalk, so, that'd be an easy job for anybody as far as I'm concerned, so. Not that either one of them couldn't do it, but I would say Ken would be my vote.
Okay. Okay, and I concur with all of you that being his background is such, then I think it'd be much better communication between Lou and himself, so. And it's unfortunate that, we have someone that's out there volunteering, we can't give them this specific position, but we have to go with the best person, so
Exactly.
that's what we're going to do. So
Tom, do
We
we need
can
to
bring
go
him
through
back in
a
and tell him-
nomination, or do we have?
I would go ahead and make a motion. So we can
Okay.
vote on that,
I think
Roberta, you
Roberta made a
started.
motion.
I make a motion that we
I'll-
appoint Ken as treasurer.
I'll second the motion.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion's carried, then Ken Rose.
She's going to go get the candidate.
She's too.
Well, again, welcome back. I'd like to thank both of you for coming forward tonight and for volunteering your services. The council decided that Ken Rose would be our financial secretary and city treasurer, excuse me. And Ferris, I want to thank you and can't thank you enough for coming forward and offering your services. So it's just, the young man has a lot of credentials and congratulations, Ken. And anyway, moving forward. Okay, item 11, items from District 5, Stanislaus County Supervisor, Mr. Jim D. Martini.
Good evening, Mayor, excuse me, Mayor Pro Tem Martina and council members. My allergy bothers me this time of year because of all the dust in the air. I think it's the farmers that are causing all the problem for me. I just wanted to add just a couple of things. The next meeting of the Healthcare Task Force will be on November 1st in Patterson at the Del Puerto Healthcare District's board chambers. And at that time, we're going to be reviewing our 3-year strategic plan and going over our goals. And we have a presentation from the Stanislaus County Education Office of Education, SCO, and they want to partner with us. We've had a meeting with them, and they're very good at applying for grants, and they'd like to do a project with us on healthcare on the west side. And now that the task force has a nonprofit status, we're good partners for that. We already have the school districts, of Newman, Patterson, and Gustine on board, and we got the Stanislaus County now. I think that we're in a much better position to go after grants and do projects on the west side that would be more meaningful. So this should be a pretty good meeting. The art and essay contest is kind of starting to go underway. Last night I made a presentation to the Newman School District. Tomorrow I will be in Gustine for that school district. And then Monday, the last one will be Patterson. And we have all the paperwork that's been sent out to the school districts, but it's kind of better that I make a presentation to them to kind of solicit their support, so they'll get out to the classroom teachers that will get the kids to submit the art contest. The task force had decided on a theme this year of like blank, fill in the blank for your health. And so that could be like exercise for your health, or eat right for your health, or quit smoking for your health, or, would leave a lot of latitude for what the students could do. So that's our theme this year. The calendars and the essays will be due on November 5th, and they will be judged probably on November 8th, although that could change. And then we'll be giving out our prizes and print the calendars before the end of the school year. And I'd like to remind everybody that the Biggest Loser Way Out is going to be right here in Newman on October 18th, which I believe is a Thursday, and it will be at noon. Across the street from the West Side Theater, unless the city wants it somewhere else. We plan to do it over there, so we'll be off the sidewalk and kind of out of the public's way. Anyway, that's set. The only other thing that I'd mention is that LAFCO on its September 26th meeting did pass a ag preservation policy that's different criteria that cities could use. Well, part of it's mitigation. Some of it, you could go around the mitigation if you had a citywide vote, although you'd still be required to do absorption study and show the LAFCO Commission how you're minimizing loss of farmland. But it gives the cities a little bit more flexibility. It essentially passed unanimously. We had one dissenting vote, but that person wanted stronger than one-to-one mitigation. So it was, I would say essentially it was a unanimous vote. So it was kind of a first for Central Valley to do that. We were the first county to actually have a policy that agricultural land is unique and needs to have some degree of preservation. There's some type of policy, which is what LAFCO is actually supposed to do, that we've been operating for years without a policy, so we do have one in place. And I say that many counties have the policy in place already, and it varies from county to county. But we just had our state conference in Monterey County, and they actually have one there, and I wasn't even aware of it till we had the conference there. So anyway, that's all I have, unless you have any questions.
Just one question, Jim. We talk about ag preservation. Do you think the county is in conflict with itself when they put out a gravel pit in this area? I just wonder if they're saying one thing on one hand, and then the next breath they're saying, put a gravel pit, 50 years of trucks going all over the place, and that's ag land they're talking about.
Yeah, I know, it's ag land. I mean, the only thing I can say is this hasn't got to us yet, but it's not a county project. It was somebody who'd come to the county and took out an application, and it's going through environmental review yet. It has not got the county's approval, or it's just in an application process.
Yeah.
It wasn't the county was out looking for something like this. If somebody had come in, I've met them once when they first came in. I haven't talked to them since, but it's, we have to take any application that comes in and review it, and then, we will decide. But, that one is the problem I have with that, besides taking out farmland permanently out of production, is that it leaves a giant hole in the ground unmitigated. And I had a mining permit myself one time, and it was removing about 6 feet of sand. I had to remove a vineyard. The sand was just terrible ground, and nothing would grow on it. But below that sand was good soil. So I got a mining permit, which seemed kind of strange to call that a mining permit. But anyway, I scooped off the sand and then replanted my vineyard. But when I got my permit, my requirements were that I had to return that land back to agricultural land. I had to leave no trace of what we had done there and bring it back to the condition that it was before I started. And I don't see that, at least at this time, in that condition being imposed on this project. And I just cannot see, even the state of California has a lot to say about mining permits, because I've had one, so I've had to deal with the state. And they would take a pretty dim view, I think, of just leaving a 50 or 60 foot hole in the ground and riding off in the sunset and just leaving that there. So there's a lot of unanswered questions about this project, and I say it's in an application environmental review process now, and so I don't know when it comes out of that, I don't know what the scope is going to look like, but there definitely has some problems with it.
We have a lot of problems with it.
Yeah, well, we have. This one here is minor compared to that air base thing that went on for 5 years, but, there was some ag land, 5,000 acres coming out of production and putting in like a railroad yard for freight containers for the Port of Oakland, so, I definitely had some problems with that one. But we're in the request, not quite there. We're going to put out a request for proposal for that air base again, and it is for the 1,520 acres, not 4,000 acres. And this time, this next time around, we're actually going to check out the company. Can you believe the county never even checked out the company? I mean, when somebody puts up a small building for us, we check out the company and pre-qualify them before they can even bid on the job. And we went ahead with this project for 5 years and never really checked out the company. Be different this time.
Jim, with the new RFP, is it going to, I believe, and tell me if I'm wrong, when we when the county got it from the federal government, that they have to maintain a flight component to that
Mhm.
piece of property, is that correct?
Yeah, that is correct, that the federal government, in giving this to the county, required that it be maintained as an airport, that we couldn't just take out the runways, and in the case of a national emergency, they could just use it. That was there. If they had crisis situation, they felt that they needed to land military aircraft there, that they could do it, and they were in priority position to do that, regardless of what we had going on there. So we're required to keep at least one runway in.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Okay.
The only other comment I have, I'd like to thank you personally, Jim, for all you do for the West Side Health Care Task Force, because, you know, you've done something for the West Side that nobody ever cared about. And it's been a long road for you and the group that's with you. And I think you have to be commended for what you're doing, because it's starting to pay off now. You can see things starting to roll, and something's gonna happen that's gonna be great for the West Side, but I
Yeah,
personally wanted to thank you.
it's good. This is an underserved area. It's very clear that it was an area that used to have 2 hospitals at one time, now doesn't have any, not even an urgent care clinic. And we just pulled together cities, county, healthcare providers, business people, and, you know, formed a task force that's actually doing something now. And with our efforts, I feel that we had a strong influence in Del Puerto Healthcare District expanding their facilities. We got a manual to open up a clinic over here. It's just been open a few months. And there's going to be dialysis going in Patterson for the west side, 6-station dialysis room. And from now, people who have dialysis have to go to Turlock and Modesto, and that's fine if you live in Turlock and Modesto, but not if you live in Newman and Gustine. And that was a project, you know, that we had kind of pushed along, and, you know, it's finally going to happen. So, you know, we're trying to make things better, and sometimes it takes a broad coalition of people and municipal governments, business, healthcare professionals, school districts. Whoever is willing to work on this is certainly welcome, and I think now with the nonprofit status, we're really going to be able to do some really good projects.
Thank you very much, Jim.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, items from the city manager.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just a couple quick items tonight. I just want to remind everybody, this is cleanup week, so you can drop off your merchandise, unused merchandise, or things that have been taking up space in your garage or your backyard. You can drop those off at Berlotti's property there on M Street. Same places the last 20 years. So
Okay, and the hours, there's one day that the hours are later.
Wednesday they're out till 6, I believe. Yes.
Okay, thank you.
On October 17th, our non-motorized transportation plan and steering committee is going to have a community meeting. That project's moving along nice. I think we're at a draft stage on that, and maybe Stephanie can talk a little bit more about that. Last night, the Kwoski Centennial Committee had a pulled pork fundraiser. They served over 350 dinners. We believe it was quite successful, so we're very pleased with the turnout, and we want to thank the community for coming out and supporting that event through the purchase of their pulled pork tickets. And then we want to remind you, in January, there's going to be a smoked meatloaf fundraiser. And we think January is a good time. You know, it's still cold. We get a nice piece of meatloaf out there. So, at our last meeting, you approved the Northwest Newman Quadrant Master Plan, and we're going to have a kickoff meeting this week. So, I want to thank you for that. I think that's going to be a good project for us. When consultants are ready to move forward. So, it's excellent that we're going to keep this moving forward before the holiday season really kicks in, because if you wait too long, you know, really you lose a month and maybe even 2 months. So if we can get this moving and get them moving forward, something can occur during that time. So we received notice that on October 25th, that Gustine will be having their open house at both their new police facility as well as their new city hall. So we received a flyer through the email, and we'll be forwarding that out to you. Oh, that's already been forwarded out to you.
Yeah, it's already.
And then lastly, for Councilmember Hutchins and Mayor Pro Tem Martina, just a reminder, next Tuesday is our scheduled 2+2 meeting with the school district. So, you know, and we did bring up Riddle Mine a little bit, and we've checked in with their staff, and when we ask the update, we typically get a 2-sentence response from them. We just hope, and at this point in time, we've heard a little bit of both, but we just want to make sure the county staff understands they're still representing the residents of Newman when they do this. And our preliminary conversation with them, a lot of them are pro Riddle Mine and want to push that forward. So, I think they need to open up their eyes and make sure they understand that the residents of Newman are also residents of Stanislaus County and deserve their cooperation and diligence as they review this project. And our staff will make sure that happens. So, but we'll keep you updated. And right now, I guess the company is trying to work with the state with respect to their reclamation plan, which was sorely lacking and was out of compliance with SMERA, with the Surface Mining Reclamation Act. So that's all that I had at this time.
Thank you, Michael. And staff?
Is it just me?
Okay.
Just wanted to let everybody know that tomorrow's Kowalski Centennial meeting has been canceled due to a scheduling error, and yesterday's fundraiser efforts were focused on that, and an agenda wasn't sent out. My apologies. However, as our city manager stated, yesterday's fundraiser was a success, and we made a profit of $1,760. So that is pretty darn good. So that's good news. We'll be able to use that for activities for our celebrations next year. Also, kind of just reiterating what Michael said regarding the non-motorized transportation plan meeting. That's on October 17th at 6 o'clock in the evening at our former council chambers. I'm referring to it as a community meeting room at this point, for lack of a better title. It's a joint community and committee input meeting. The draft document is online and available for review. If people don't want to download it, they can come by and I can show them a paper copy. Also, just wanted to let everybody know that the October 18th Planning Commission meeting is canceled due to a lack of items. We are planning to have a meeting in November for the Dollar General site plan review. Happy to answer any questions.
Any questions, Steph? No. Thank you. And I personally would like to thank you for being very successful with Take-Up.
Oh, thank you.
And your young children that were there to help out. There was a lot of people, but everyone did a good job.
It wouldn't have been as successful without the volunteers. So I want to tell everybody that participated,
Anyway,
thank you as well.
Thank everyone that was there. Anyway, moving on, next staff member.
First of all, I just wanted to congratulate Ken on being appointed the city treasurer. Finance department looks forward to working with you. Also, secondly, our web payment software is doing really well. Just within the last month, we've got 140 people that have made payments and 159 that have signed up on that account, and approximately 5% of our population or accounts. So it's growing pretty well. We hope people keep moving over there and taking advantage of it.
Thank you. Any questions of Luke? None? Okay.
Good evening, council. Just a few updates from the Public Works side. The public notice for the water rate increase went out recently, and the public hearing is scheduled for November 13th for that. That is a protest hearing. Just wanted to update you on that. We also are entering into a contract for some grinding on our downtown sidewalks with a firm. Precision Concrete Cutting will be coming in, and any of the raised sidewalks in that area, we have about 41 locations that have been identified for them to come in and do the grinding for that, which will also meet ADA requirements. We also, staff will be going out and getting ready for our winter storm preparation as the season's coming up on us. We'll be looking at some downed limbs or limbs that are dying, and then also cleaning our drains as we go through town. So you'll see them out and about doing that. We're also updating some of the painting, the markings in the streets. We went through and had Womack come in and did some updating on the thermoplastic. And last item I have for you is staff will be attending a meeting tomorrow with Caltrans to go over the Highway 33 Inyo Avenue traffic signal design with our consultant to get their preliminary input from their project manager and see where we move from there, because we have kind of a general design geometrics of the outline of that intersection, how we propose to do that, and hopefully get some feedback on that when we move that project forward, and I'll update you as we go. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Any questions?
None.
None?
And I have nothing tonight.
Sure. Okay, thank you. And Council, you have anything tonight?
Just a couple of quick things. On the league side, I've been sworn in as the first vice president of the San Joaquin Division of the League of California Cities. So I'll be the first VP this year and then the president next year. Goody, goody. We do have 25 cities, and we're going to try to get a little more involvement among some of those cities, especially in the letter writing and stuff, over some of the stuff that happens up at the Capitol. So Eric Ingerson of Ceres is the president this year, and then Ken Lane, who was the president this past year, has now moved to the executive board for the California League of Cities. So we're going to be busy with that, and also with the league, we have our golf tournament this Thursday, which is the fundraiser for City Pack, which puts together the funds when we do statewide initiatives under the California League of Cities. So I'll be at that on Thursday. So that's all I've got.
Congratulations on your appointment.
Congratulations, condolences. I'm
Well,
not
I
sure.
was going to say that. You know, I'm sure you'll do an excellent job. Roberta, you have anything tonight?
I have nothing tonight.
Okay. Mr. Candia?
Nothing tonight?
Okay, and I have nothing tonight. So I just would like, in closing, I'd like to thank Ken Rose and Ferris for coming and volunteering for the treasurer.
Are we going to swear him in tonight?
And it's you know, it's getting people to come out and to volunteer, we always find it difficult. And tonight we had 2, and so we thank you. And I'd like to thank everyone for coming tonight, and I'd ask for motion to adjourn.
Motion.
Motion's made.
Second.
Third.
We're adjourned.
Fourth.
And